It's me again. Hi, you can see my face. Finally. Welcome or welcome back to Tome Travelers. My name is Erica. This is my new bookcase. Yay, I have 2 now. The other bookcase is over there. But this is a new one. I needed a new one badly. So today we're going to discuss my January wrap up. This thing is really tall. So, for January, I read 4 books. I'm going to start in chronological order. Put it over here. I never do this right. Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles. I gave it 5 stars. It was really good. I'm very bad with character names. A little bit here. I forgot our main character's name. I'm sorry. Kalia. Very pretty name, very unique. Kalia is... First of all, this book is kind of like a Phantom of the Opera, Moulin Rouge meets, but has its own unique story. I see where Phantom of the Opera, not so much maybe the book, but more vibes of the musical, the play that was all over in Canada, which I'm jealous of, in Toronto. I only saw it once in Cleveland. Anyways, and I do definitely see Moulin Rouge vibes, but it has its own unique story with magic, and there is a lot of sexism in it, because girls who have magic are deemed to go to somewhere else and use it practically, like for chores and stuff, whereas if you're a male and you have magic, you get to be a magician and do tricks. No female has done it on stage, unless of course like there is a circus. So I don't know, that comes to this town because they're having a competition to find the best magician, and that's where Clea goes, because she's sick and tired of coming down on a chandelier and using her tricks and dancing, because she's a dancer. And what's his name? Jack. Jack is the one, you know, to help her improve her magic. There are natural people who have magic, and then there's others that go to school for it. You can tell that it's practice magic. But anyhow, I'm trying to move over here. You know, she makes a friend. He becomes her assistant, which is kind of cool, and his name is Eros. I need me an Eros. I love him very much. He's very cool. There's a lot of secrets in this book, and it is a page turner for me. I really like how this was written. This was written more like an adult, but it's a YA, and I was confused because I kept looking. I go, "Are you sure this is YA? This is written for like an adult." But I can see where there's elements of YA in there. To me, it was so well written that it was so totally disguised, or I'm just old and YA has changed over the years. So I don't know, but I really liked it. I really like the elements to it. There's a sequel that comes out in August, and I'm excited. I really, yay, sequels. Because at the end of the book, I'm like, kind of leave me on a cliffhanger. One of the characters, oh my goodness, if Madeline Kahn was still alive, reminds me so much of Madeline. I think if I can find her name real quick, I'll tell you which character. Lottie, that's what I thought. I knew it started with an L. The character of Lottie, I pictured her as Madeline Kahn, because I'm just like, this is so a Madeline Kahn character. I'm like, oh my god. And she'd be going, flames on the side of my face. So yeah, I gave that 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Next book I read, One of Us is Lying by Karen and McManus. This is the first sequel. This one also got 5 stars. It reminded me so much of high school. Yes, my high school back in the 90s. This is what the 90s would have looked like. I mean, there was something that happened that was almost true life to when I went to school, and I felt so bad for this kid. And he became an outcast because of it. I was an outcast. I was never popular, nor did I care to be popular. I just wanted to be me. And if you couldn't accept me for me, then that's fine. And most of the popular kids didn't. There was maybe one popular girl that she was popular, and everybody talked to her, and nothing ever happened. I know her name, and I'm not going to say it, but she was a really nice young lady. I love her to death. She's friends on Facebook with me, so she's really cool. She cared about everybody. So, but this one, somebody dies, Simon. And all these people, Nate, Addie, Cooper, I'm going to try to say her name, Bronwyn the brain, Addie the beauty, Nate the criminal, Cooper the athlete, and Simon the outcast, and Simon dies. They're all in detention, the teacher's there, and Simon dies. And nobody knows who did it. Was he murdered? Possibly. But who did it? Was it the teacher? Could be. Don't know. You'll have to find out. Read this. But I really like this. For some, it's a YA. It might be, when you read it, for us that are way too old. Well, I'm not old. I mean, I'm only 39, but, it's been a long time since I've been in high school. But I still remember those days. It may be too clicky, maybe too young. I don't know. It's a good murder mystery. I loved it. And I had my suspicions near the end of who did it. And I'm like, damn. Because at first I thought it was somebody else, and I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, but what if this happened? I always think of it like Clue. What if it was this way? Is that possible? I mean, wow, if that was possible, whoa. Well, one of my theories, I had many, was right. I was still surprised because I really didn't think that would happen, but it did. So, I was still kind of shocked. I really thought, I'm like, that happens. But it was really good. Please pick it up. I gave it 5 stars. You can go on Goodreads or Amazon or wherever and find the synopsis of it if you're interested. The third book I read was the one that I picked from my Book of the Month thing. There it is. This thing. A Woman is No Man. Boop. By Etaf Rum. So, this was very interesting. I'm going to read the back again. 3 generations of Palestinian American women are torn between individual desire and their strict Arab culture in this powerful debut. A heart-wrenching story of love, intrigue, courage, and betrayal that will resonate with women from all backgrounds, giving voice to the silenced and agency to the oppressed. I've heard of such things as this. I mean, this isn't something new to me. I've known. I didn't realize. Every culture is different. I knew, and tradition is different. I know in India that I've heard and read and seen, that they're starting to do things different, but they're starting to get away from arranged marriages. And this is what this is basically an arranged marriage. You don't know the man. The man could be years older. In Isra's case, she's only 17 and he's 30. There's 13 years difference. And that's major. And in this culture, having a son, you want a son to help you, to help carry the family name. If you have a daughter, they're basically a burden. Because they're only of use to you around the house, but once they're gone, who do you have to help? Who do you help with the family? And they're gone, and you never see that daughter again. You're not supposed to see that daughter again. That's what that culture says. You're not allowed. And that's back in where they come from, Palestine. And it was worse back then. We find out more about Fatima. Not Fatima. Oh, Farida. There's a lot of, we eventually get background with Farida, but for the most of the book, it's Isra, and then her daughter Dea, who's one of 4 girls that her mother had. Her mother never bore any sons. Her parents are dead. That's nothing new. Her parents are dead, and she's being raised by her paternal grandparents. And Dea is getting close to 18. She wants to go to college. Farida says, no, you need to be married. You need to sit with this boy, or this young man. He's 26 at the time. So not too bad of an age difference, but he sounds like he's a little more progressive, but you don't know. Because from what Dea says, they could say whatever they want, but nothing will change. And, they're allowed to beat their wives, their children, because of maybe a minor mistake, but that's how their culture is. Maybe was, but I don't know how the culture is today. Some of them don't wear the hijab if you live in America because they're afraid of the racism and maybe being attacked. And for women, they worry that if they're not accompanied by like a male or an older female, that they could get, sexually attacked or, kidnapped. I understand that. There are Americans out there that would seriously are racist against Muslims and Middle Eastern people. But most Americans are very tolerable. I have no problems. Why would I have a problem with somebody like that? I think the only problem I ever have is with a person that might be an extremist that would want to harm myself, or the country. But I never, what happened on 9/11 was not the people's fault that lived here. They were trying to get away from that. That's why they came here. They were trying to get away from what was happening over in their own country. And what happened after that, where people were getting mad at them, that was wrong and that's why they were afraid. So, that kind of, I think that might have been mentioned a little tiny bit, but, I can understand a lot of things in this book, and it was heartbreaking. There was inspiration, there was heartbreak, there was tragedy and sadness, and it's like, I got angry, I got frustrated. I'm not even from this culture, but as a woman, this is frustrating and angry, because you can't be yourself. You have to get married and have children, and that's all you're good for, and making dinner and cleaning house. This is just like what happened in America up until a certain point. What was it? The 40s? They took us out of our home in the 40s and made us work because the men went to war. And then we didn't want to go back to the kitchen. We wanted to work. We liked this. We got to earn money. But it still continued in the 50s, and then liberation started happening like 60s and 70s. If I remember correctly. I wasn't around for any of this, but I know from my mother and my grandmother, although my grandmother didn't, she did work. She worked for her dad, and she was a typist, she was a secretary, so my grandmother did work, but she eventually got married, had children, and stayed in the kitchen, cleaned house. That's the way she liked it. And my grandmother was a timid creature, and I loved her very much. But that's what's going on. That's all a woman is worth in this culture, and that's sad. And, some women run away. Some of them suggest divorce, and that's not a good thing to do, but some of them do. I gave that book 4.5 stars. I think the only reason why, I'm sorry, I'm looking down, because it looks to be like, okay. The reason why I gave it 4.5 stars was because It was a little slow. There was little lulls in there. I mean, overall, it was a great story. It's in a contemporary fiction, I believe. Great story for any woman out there. You want to get angry and frustrated and know what it's like to be from a different culture, to come to America and live how they had to live. I mean, it's sad. It really is, and it's frustrating. It's angry. I mean, read it. It's really good. I gave it 4.5. I think like I said, the only reason why I knocked off half was because it might have been a little slow for me, just a tad. Other than that, with the pacing, I mean, it's a good book, it really is. My last and final book. I finally finished it. I started it December 22nd. I said, it's just, a book that eventually, I don't know how long it's going to take me to read. It's one of those that I don't care about, but I'm going to read. 1,000 Naked Strangers, A Paramedic's Wild Ride to the Edge and Back by Kevin Hazard. It was an okay book. It takes you from when he started EMT school all the way until the end of his career, basically. And there was a lot of stories in there about being a paramedic, and there was more of him in it. I think I only gave it 3 stars. It's a good book. 3 stars means it's a good book. It's solid. For me, the reason why I gave it that is I think I was expecting more stories, maybe a little more gore. I don't know. It was just mainly about him. I mean, he could have just wrote the stories, and that's it. But I know he integrated himself, showing how it's like to be an EMT, which is hard. And then he eventually became a medic, because there's, I guess, 2 different levels. So he went back to school to be a paramedic and all that, and how burnout happens, what different things happen, and it's okay. It was kind of slow. It was medium. It picked up. It really is a medium-paced book, but there was lulls. It would go slow, then it would go fast, then it would go slow, then it would go whoop really fast, and it would pick up more, and then it would die down a little, and I'm like, okay, I still want more stories. It's only, if you don't count acknowledgments or anything, it's 261 books, paperback. So, I don't know. It was a solid book. If you want to ride, if you want to read a book that deals with what a EMT and a paramedic go through, it's a good book. There are some stories in there. They really are good stories. Some of them are gross. Some of them, oh my God, wow. And this happened in Atlanta, Georgia. So, excuse me. Little indigestion going on there for a minute. So yeah, check it out. And that's all the books I read for January. I'm gonna see if I can do this, but I never done this. So I'm gonna hide my face. I think I can do this. These are the 4 books that I've read. Ha! I never do this right. So that is January wrap up. Join me here soon. I'm going to do my February TBR. And then I have a big haul that I have to do. 21 books. I have 18 books that just came today. This is on Saturday. This is Saturday, January 30th. Don't let the date on my camera fool you. I have to fix that. It is not 2019. I don't want to go back to that. But I'm looking at my remote. I'm learning things with this camera. That is all I have for you today. I hope you are having a good evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. My battery died, so now I have the other battery that's probably going to need charged here in a minute. So, trying to do my outro, just saying stay safe, stay healthy, know that you are blessed, and know that you are always loved. Bye.